Hello everyone, and today we're going to be talking about a medieval mod 1207. So, right off the bat, something about this mod that's a little striking is the name. So it's basically a mod that allows you to start in 1207. It has significant changes compared to the standard Medieval 2 Total War campaign that starts in 1080 AD. But I like it, and let's get into the campaign here. Let me show off this. Click here for the 1207 campaign. So as you can see, there are several new factions available here to push it to the faction limit and to make the political situation a little more appropriate for the early 13th century AD. So in the east, we have the Mongol Empire already there. We have the Abbasid Caliphate. We have the Crusader states. We have the Empire of Nicaea. The Latin Empire, which seems to be a sort of amalgam of the Western Outremer kingdoms, like the Principality of Achaia and stuff. And you also have the Kipchaks, the Volga Bulgars, and the Balkan Bulgarians. Lithuania, Novgorod, Kievan Rus, the Kipchaks, and then your standard Medieval 2 Total War factions, with the addition of Norway here as well. And Aragon, which of course I always forget. Aragon was in the original Medieval 1 Total War, and then was not included in Medieval 2, which was something that always didn't sit well with me. So in any case, let's get into the campaign, and I'll show off some cool things about this mod. All right, so here we are. We enter the campaign, and we are immediately confronted by this scroll. Doesn't look very happy. And this one too. And this one. Oh, do you want to activate the captain script? You cannot attack other armies or siege settlement with captains, only with generals. Without the right education or training, most armies will not be able to assault cities without siege weapons. A greater challenge for those looking for something different from a Total War campaign. Well, let's accept it. Anyway, I actually like things like that. That make it a little more difficult to just, the Medieval 2 AI was not good at garrisoning cities. That's no secret. And a lot of the time, people just take advantage of that. But I never found that very realistic or interesting to just do that. So I actually like that the AI can't do that either. We have the Hagia Sophia. This is Constantinople here. And I just want to take a look here at the buildings. So Constantinople has a few unique buildings, of course, and has a lot of aspects that are more developed than other cities, including army quarters, which is a very good biddling. Anyway, that's enough of the jokes, hopefully. So we start out as the Latin Empire here. So if you look at the layout of the map, it seems pretty similar to the map of something like stainless steel that goes to a little bit east of the Caspian Sea. So it's definitely a more detailed map than the vanilla Medieval 2 Total War map and the Medieval 1 one as well. And the Latin Empire, of course, starts out with severe... Well, it should start out with severe issues, but we seem to have a pretty good treasury. So that's nice, as the Latin Empire. Let's take a look at the campaign map here. So this is, again, the 1207 start positions. So we have the Mongols already starting out with a giant army here in the east. I actually like that compared to the regular Medieval 2 Mongol invasion, because of the AI. The AI just can't handle it very well. In any case, we have significant rebel territories here in the east. I wish there was a major faction added here, like the Khwarezmians or something, but I see why they went this route. I see why they went this route. But yeah, we also have the Kingdom of Georgia here in the Caucasus. So let's. What else did I want to look at? I wanted to look at the Crusader states, of course. So the Crusader states are included as a faction here in the 1207 mod. So Jerusalem is controlled by the Ayyubids. And of course, this is a little bit before the crusade that allowed the Crusaders to retake Jerusalem for several decades in the 13th century prior to the Mamluks taking everything and destroying all the Crusader states here. But the Crusaders start out with Cyprus here, Antioch, Tripoli, Acre, and Ascalon. So that's pretty interesting indeed. The Kingdom of Sicily is pretty much consolidated here, except for Naples, which is an independent settlement. There was just something here that I found strange. So over here it says the Roman Catholic Empire. So that's interesting. So here it says Venetian, city Venetian, and then castle the Roman Catholic Empire. But that looks like it's controlled by Venice. Anyway, you can tell here that a lot of these principalities, it's a little bit vanilla in terms of the control of different countries, like the regions they control. So you can especially see this like in Italy. You see this in the Latin Empire. You see this in the Crusader states. Like a lot of these factions are amalgams of many other factions. And that's both a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing because the Medieval 2 AI is not very good at handling super high detailed things. It's better when you have a more vanilla style, like amalgam faction that's just strong with several regions. And then, of course, it's also good because Medieval 2's faction limit is pretty low with 31. So in any case, it's both good and bad. If you like a vanilla Medieval 2 style experience, it's good. So let's quickly get into a battle here. Oh, these controls have been changed. Anyway, let's get into a battle here as the Latin Empire and show off some of the units of this mod. Now, another cool thing about this mod that I hadn't mentioned earlier is the building system. So I find the buildings in Total War are overlooked a lot because in a lot of mods, they kind of go the vanilla route, which is totally fine. But when a mod goes the extra mile to make its building and economy system a little more unique, then I like that indeed. So there's a bunch of new buildings in this mod, including the patrol outpost and things that make a lot of sense because they were important parts of the medieval life and what, different kings were worried about. Like patrol outposts and towers to look over trade routes, super important all over Europe and the Near East. But it's something that's not really taken into account in Medieval 2 in vanilla and most mods. And then, a lot of these buildings have longer turn time, so you actually spend a lot more time in a particular era of your development. So it's a little bit more like Civilization in that respect, where you have to spend a lot of time with a certain technology level of units, and then you can move up as you develop. So slowing down that development, I actually like. And as you can see, the Balestrieri and Spear Militia, you have to have a religion recruitment requirement in order to recruit them. So 65% Catholic. So you have to keep your Catholicism up in the Latin Empire, where it's pretty difficult. Of course, it's an Orthodox world. So that's pretty cool indeed. So I have to say, I like this recruitment system, and I like the building system here in this mod 1207. It's something that I think more mods need to do. Make the development take a little bit longer, just so that you have to focus on using those particular units you have recruited without, getting a new technology level so quickly. All right, so here we are in battle in 1207. Okay, and we have our general's bodyguard here, looking pretty nice, and I actually like the models for like the shields and stuff have very nice 3D effects. I really do think these textures are well done. So well done to the mod maker of this mod. I don't even remember when I downloaded this. So we have a Sergeant Spearman here as well, looking very nice. Something about the original Medieval 2 is that the general's bodyguards were super well adorned with colorful equipment and horse barding and a few anachronistic things. But other units were pretty drab. But the medieval era was a little more colorful than we think it was. So I like the colorfulness of these units and like the designs. It's well done, a little more realistic, I'd say. Drab and dreary doesn't always mean realistic. For some reason, my D key is making me scroll down instead of S. So that's weird. I've never seen that happen in any mod. Have you? Let me know if you have. So let's get our troops into position. We're fighting a Bulgarian army here as the Latin Empire. The enemy has a giant army coming up right behind us. So let's try to rout these guys, and then that'll be pretty much it for this video. That's pretty much everything I wanted to show about this mod. It's a pretty cool mod. It seems like there's a few kinks to work out in terms of the polish, but it's very cool. And, I think the name of the mod could be changed. There's a few aspects that could be improved, the sort of branding of this mod, because a lot of work has gone into it. It's very nicely done. Okay, let's have our Sergeant Spearman charge in here. As you can see, the movement speed in this mod is a little bit slower than vanilla. So if you prefer a faster pace, then this is probably not the mod for you. But it's fine for me. All right, so let's charge at the rear of this militia spearman. And that way we'll be able to check out the routing mechanics in this mod. Okay, we got a nice charge in there. Yeah, and they've routed. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like that they routed a little bit quickly. So even though the melee was taking a long time, when I was able to surround them with way more units than they had, they routed in fairly good time. So I do appreciate mods that do that. I don't like mods where you have to fight to the death. So there's some really good mods that have mechanics like that, like Roma Surrectum and SPQR mods, but in general, it's better if it's a little more realistic and you can break enemy units prior to grinding them down to the last man. Of course, as I say that, I ground that unit down to the last man, but they were totally surrounded. There, they have one guy. I think this is a good place to end the video on. There's not too much else I want to talk about here. If you enjoy videos about the historical Total Wars and their mods, consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and you can find this mod in the description below. I'll send a link to the mod DB page there. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.